So we have two very similar poinsettias. This one, as you can see, has a smaller center, and it has a chain 4 nub stitch, and then it has an elastic band on the back to hold your towel onto an oven handle or a fridge handle, and you feed the towel up under, place this in front of the oven handle, then wrap the towel around that one strand, go under the other, and then it will hang on your oven handle, cabinet handle, or the bathroom towel rack. I'll put a tutorial at the end of this video on how to do that. Before I start on this towel topper, I do want to introduce you to the scrubby dishcloth. This is just adorable. It will fit right in your hand to scrub. It has a 5-chain nub stitch in the center and then a little bit of scrubby yarn on the back. Isn't that delightful? You can just wash your dishes and scrub your dishes. It's a beautiful little treatment. But let's get started on this little towel topper.
To make this towel topper, you'll need cotton yarn, an H crochet hook, a yarn needle, some stitch markers, and elastic ponytail holders.
I'm going to be using a variegated pink and then a little bit of a stripy variegated green for the center. So in order to make the cyathea, or the center of the poinsettia, we're going to chain 3 and join in a ring using my H crochet hook. 1, 2, 3. Wrap that little tail, slip stitch, chain 1, and single crochet. Now this is not the hole, this is the hole. Let me show you again. That is not the hole, as it will open up. This is the hole right here. All right, I have a tutorial that shows you in very great detail how to do that. So you chain 1, single crochet, and then you insert your hook. We're making a 4-chain nub. Insert your hook, pull up a loop. Now ignore this loop. Now we need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes my chains get tighter as I go taller. Now I have this on my hook. Now I'm going to pull through and make that single crochet. Now I'm going to use my opposite finger, push it to the front. I'm pushing this chain to the front and then making a single crochet. And that makes your first chain 4 nub. All right, we need to make another chain 4 nub. You'll be making 5 in total. So just as if you're making a single crochet, but you hold this loop, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now pull through, make a single crochet, shove that off to the side, find your hole, continue to wrap this yarn tail around, go into your hole, make a single crochet, and you have 2 nub stitches for your cyathea. Let's do that again. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, hold this loop, and chain 4. 1, 2, oops, it's sliding down on me. 2, 3, 4. Now pull this through. Now give this a shove off to the side. Find the center hole, keeping this yarn tail wrapped, and then single crochet. All right, so we have 3 bumps or cyatheas. Let me speed up the camera until I get to the 5th cyathea. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so I'm at the last chain of the last cyathea. The nub stitch is the last stitch that we make, or this chain 4 nub stitch. All right, so we finished that last nub stitch. Now we need to join with a slip stitch to the top of this single crochet, dropping this color. I have my yarn tail mixed in there. Dropping this color. Actually, we will end off with this color. clip off, leaving a generous tail, and join with a slip stitch, pulling up your petal color, whether it is red or pink. I'm using pink. All right, now we will chain 1, and we will put 2 single crochets in the joining stitch. One, 2 single crochets in the joining stitch, 2 single crochets in the next stitch, two single crochets in the next stitch. You have to pull that Cyathea back a little bit so that you can see that single crochet stitch. And then 2 single crochets in this next stitch, and we do that all the way around. We put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around, and at the end of the round we will have 20 single crochets. I'll meet you at the end. I have 1 more single crochet to make, and I will join with a slip stitch to the top of this single crochet. That was the beginning single crochet, and I have 20 single crochets at the end of round 2. But before I go any farther, I'm going to turn this over. The yarn tails are irritating me. This was the short yarn tail. This was the beginning yarn tail. And the reason I chained over top of it was so that I could pull the hole tight. So I can pull that tighter. And that looks closer and it looks better. All right, so I'm going to pull that tight. I'm going to make a knot and clip it off. You can tie those ends in if you would like. You can weave those yarn ends in if you like, but I'm just going to clip this off. But if this is going to be used for heavy duty or washed a lot, I would definitely weave those yarn tails in. Now round 3 is chain 3 and skip 2 stitches and slip stitch
in the next stitch.
So let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and skip 2 stitches. 1, 2, and slip stitch. My yarn needs to be behind, and slip stitch. All right, we repeat that around, so let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and slip stitch. So far we have chain 3 spaces. This is where the first round of flower petals will go. Let's make it chain 3 one more time. 1, 2, 3, skip 2, 1, 2, and slip stitch in that third. All right, I will finish that all the way around, and when I'm finished, I will have 7 chain 3 spaces. I'll complete that all the way around. When I get to the end, I'll show you what's next. All right, I'm at the end of the round. I have skipped 2 stitches, chain 3, skipped 2 stitches, slip stitch all the way around. I now have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I need a 7th, and I'm just going to go ahead, chain 3, which I've already done, and slip stitch right in that next slip stitch. I could make this with 6 petals, but 7 is more pleasing, so we will just make this slip stitch and this extra chain 3 right here. It's a little bit hard. I'm going to have to dig, so bear with me. I'm just going to slip right underneath that. There we go. Okay, now it is time to make our first petal. This is round 4. We have 7 chain 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain 3s. Now we don't have any beginning chains here. This does not have to build. We will immediately make the first petal by single crochet in the chain 3 space, half double crochet in the chain 3 space, or under that chain 3. Now double crochet, chain 2,
and slip stitch back in the first chain.
Double crochet under the chain 3, half double crochet, and single crochet. And there's our first poinsettia flower petal. Now,
note, there are 2 empty stitches. We will be using those empty stitches in the next petal round and the next leaf round. I'll show you how.
but so we don't do anything special. We just go to the next chain 3 space and we single crochet again. Half double crochet, double crochet, chain 2, and slip stitch back in that first chain. Double crochet, yarn over, and under the loop. Half double crochet, and a single crochet. It goes fairly quick. We have 2 petals. All right, so I'm excited about that. Let me finish the petals around. I'll get to the last petal and I'll show you what's next. I have 1 more petal to make. I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 more petal to make. So let's make that again. Just go over the petal. So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, chain 2, drop back, and slip stitch in this first chain. Double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet. Have just enough room for a single crochet. All right, now we're going to slip stitch in the top of this single crochet so we can close up this petal round. All right. And there we have the beginning of a poinsettia. Happens next. We will chain 2 and drop behind the petal. 1, 2, and drop behind the petal, folding the petal back, and you can see 2 skipped stitches from round 3. I will use the first skipped stitch and slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now move to the next petal and use that first stitch that was skipped. Slip right underneath there, slip stitch. Okay, now we have 2 chain 3 loops. That is where the next petals will go. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3. Go to the next petal, fold the petal back. You're exposing the 1, 2 stitches. We're going to slip stitch under this first stitch. Looks hard, but it's not. Slip stitch. These chain 3s can be generous. 1, 2, 3. You don't want them to be tight. You'll get a rhythm to this. Slip stitch under that first one. Chain 3. Fold the petal back. Expose those 2 stitches. Need to keep the yarn behind my crochet hook. Slip stitch. Chain 3. Go to the next petal, pull the petal back, slip stitch. I'm going to reinsert my hook again. I feel like I was splitting yarn as I was doing that. There we go. That's better. I'm right under those 2 loops. One, 2, 3. Pull the petal back. I'm getting close. Right here's where we started this second petal round. So we're at the last one. We only have 1 stitch and it's right here. We'll have to put the leaf and the petals right here. So it's wanting to fold over on me. So I need to work it so that I am under those top 2 loops. And it's a little tight. And there I did that. You can see it's kind of folding together. I got right under those top 2 loops. There we go. Now slip stitch it. Now I need to make 1 more chain 3 loop. Let's turn it over and count our loops so that I can show you there's a need for 1 more. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's finish so we can make 7 chain 3 loops. Let's pull our petals back. We'll need to slip stitch right at the base where we chained 2 and dropped and slip stitch. So let's chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And join with a slip stitch just right in this area. It doesn't have to be directly in a certain stitch. Now this is round 6. This petal will be slightly bigger. We will be adding a treble crochet. So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, and a treble crochet. Treble is round, yarn over twice, draw up a loop, draw through 2, draw through 2, draw through 2 3 times. That's why it's called a treble or a treble. Triple or a treble. Chain 2, slip stitch into that first chain, yarn over twice, make another treble, shove those over just a little. 1, 2, 3. Now make a double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet. All right, let's look at this. All right, that's a slightly taller petal, and it's right in between these 2 petals. All right, now we don't need to make any chains. We just need to go directly to the next chain 3 space. Find that chain 3 space and single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, chain 2, and slip stitch back in that first chain, treble crochet, let me slide these over just a bit, yarn around, yep, wrap your yarn twice, yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 3 times, double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet. All right, let's look at this. We have 2 petals. All right, I'm liking the look of this poinsettia so far. It'll really look nice when I have the solid green petals in the back. All right, let me get to the end of the round. I'll have 7 petals. I'll meet you when I get to this last round. All right, so I've made 6 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 remaining petal to make. And as I pull it back, you can see that chain 2 where we dropped, and you can see this remaining chain 3 loop. Chain 2, slip stitch back, treble. Let's shove this over, treble, double crochet, half double crochet, and a single crochet to end this. Now we need to join with a slip stitch. In the beginning, single crochet. So we'll join with a slip stitch. We'll insert our hook, cut the yarn, get that out of the way, and pull up the green. And it's just as easy as clipping this off, and I pull tight, hold on to that. Now, pull the green up, and there we've joined. Now we have 7 petals, and we have our green joined. We're ready to start. Now, just as before, we're going to chain 2 and drop behind the petals. Now, we're going to pull this back, and we're going to see this chain, this stitch that was skipped. We're going to slip stitch in the back loop only. We don't want that green to show all the way on the front. This is hard to do looking through the camera. All right. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull the next petal back. You can see it kind of sticks out. It's pretty dominant. We're only going to use the back loop. Okay, so I have my chain 4, and I'm going to slip stitch in this back loop only. So there's 2, 3, 4. Moving to behind the next petal. So pull back the petal. You can see that stitch when you pull back the first petal. Then you pull back the second petal, and you see that stitch. And you slip stitch in the back loop only. All right, let's chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, in order to acclimate yourself, pull back the first petal, and you can see that skip stitch right there. Push back the second petal, and you can see the back loop only of that stitch. Put your hook under that loop right there, and slip stitch. This is probably the hardest part to demonstrate. Let me demonstrate that again. Let's chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're moving to the next petal. So pull back the first petal, and you see this stitch right here. Pull back the second petal, get it out of the way, and you really only can see this outside loop, and we only want to insert our hook on this outside loop. And slip stitch. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this again. Oh, all chain 4 spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. chain four spaces. We need to join with a slip stitch and make 2 more. All right, pull this back. We can see this is the stitch. Pull this back, and we can see the back loop there. Let's insert our hook under that back loop. There we go. Slip stitch, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull back. Ah, we are at the end. There was only 1 stitch, so we're just going to find a back loop to slip stitch into. So go to the first one that you can find. We're coming to the end. We have 1 more chain 4 to make. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to join with a slip stitch. This is the chain 2. We're going to join with a slip stitch at this beginning slip stitch in that beginning stitch. Now there's an important step we have to do next. All right, let's pull up our yarn. Now there's an important thing that we need to do right here. All right, now let's count our chain 4 loops. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we've turned this over because now we need to attach one of these elastic bands, and we're going to do that while we are crocheting. And it needs to be about 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So attaching the elastic band at about 3 o'clock here and 9 o'clock here, which is exactly how I had attached this band. So you can see 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So at the middle of the 4th and at the base of the 1st. So this is the middle because the base is right there. So let's place 2 markers so that when we're making the petal, we will know where we want to attach the elastic band. So let's put a marker right here, and then at the center of this chain 4, right here. You just want it to be at 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Now let's make the leaves. All right, let's turn this over. Again, we're holding our poinsettia this direction, and we're pulling the petals back. All right, so for the leaf, it is a single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. Well, this leaf will be bigger than the second petal. A treble, 1, 2. Pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then a double treble. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then chain 2 and slip stitch back in that first chain. And then a double treble. So that's 3 times around. Let's pull this over just a little. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trying to catch you. There we go. Now a treble, which is yarn over twice. 1, 2, 3. Now a double crochet. Half double crochet. And shove that over just a little. a single crochet. All right, let's look at this leaf. I'm gonna mash it together. Oh, how about that? It's like staggered right behind the poinsettia. It's just a little bit bigger. All right. All right, so as we move on to the second leaf, we see we have the marker here, right in the middle of the chain. So we'll catch this elastic band in when we make that first treble stitch. So the first stitch is a single crochet. The next stitch is the half double crochet. Let's go ahead and take this out of the way because it's messing with me. And I know I'm going to catch it when I make the treble. There's the half double crochet. Here's the double crochet. You can use whatever stitch you want to catch that in. But yarn over 2 times. I'm going to get that on my fingers. Yarn over 2 times. Put that elastic band there and grab it. And then just act like it's not there. And make your stitch. Then we don't have to worry about that until we get back to the second marker. So we're making a double treble. I'm using cotton yarn and it is wanting to split on me. You can use acrylic yarn. You don't have to use cotton yarn. I don't think there's going to be enough heat coming out of an oven, or if you're using this on a fridge handle or in the bathroom, you don't have to worry about the heat. You can use acrylic to make this. 2, 3. Some, like Red Heart Super Saver would be good for this because it keeps its color and it doesn't split as bad. 2. So a double treble. Let's shove this over just a little bit. Working with cotton yarn is a little harder on the hands. Come on. All right. Now just a plain old treble. Now a double crochet. Half double. And a single. All right, let's take a look at what we've got. All right. All right, we have those leaves are staggered at just the right spot, and the elastic is attached, and we'll catch it when we get over to this next marker.
Let me continue to make the leaves, and I'll come back on screen when I get to the next marker.
Okay, the petal that has the second marker, and as you can see, I should bring this elastic over and attach here at the end. Last single crochet will be where I need to pull in and attach the elastic band. And that will give me 1, 2, 3. That will give me 3. That's the right ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out because it really irritates me while I'm trying to crochet when there's a marker in there. And let's get ready and let's finish. And let's make this petal and pull in the elastic band on the single crochet stitch. All right, so we start out with a single crochet. And we need to pull in that elastic band. Get this out of the way. It's just irritating me. And just pull this in at the single crochet. Have it on the hook. Pull it down and hold it. And just make the single crochet. And there it's attached. All right, let's make the next petal. I believe this is the last petal to make. Single crochet. Half double crochet. Double crochet. Treble. Double treble. Chain 2. Double treble. Let's yarn over 3 times. Let's move these over a little bit. Get this out. Double treble. Treble. Double crochet. That looks sloppy again. Sometimes I do that on my trebles. I am not sure why. And then a half double crochet. We're almost done. And a single crochet. And join with a slip stitch to the beginning single crochet. End off. There we go. Now let's shape it all in place. Now give each leaf a pull. Pull each petal, straighten each petal out, and this will be my tribute to breast cancer. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I have been cancer-free for the past 4 years. I've had a mastectomy, and if you've been following me for a while, you already know that. And so here we have a towel topper with an elastic band on the back, and it's kind of up in the high position, or you could have brought that down so that it's straight across. I like it up in the high position. Just as I have this kind of in the high position also. There are more petals on the bottom. All right, let me show you how to weave this. Weave a towel so that it goes around an oven handle. So this is the towel end. You bunch it up and you run it through both strands of the elastic. And then, of course, you straighten it out, and you straighten out the bands. Then pretend this is the oven handle. Then you would take the towel to the oven handle and split it right at the beginning. So this band is going to be on the top. So you fold the towel over the handle and pull out the extra band. And it is secure onto the oven handle now, or the towel handle. And then you turn it around and, oops, I put the towel on backwards, but anyway, then you turn it around and then you just fluff your towel in place. Isn't that a beautiful way? And you fuss with it and get it all nice and straightened out. And isn't that a beautiful way to hang a towel on the oven? A beautiful towel topper. And of course, you could make it in pink as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you'll come to my side of the mountain more often and like and subscribe, and make sure you watch the tutorial for the dishcloth scrubby. Has a hanging loop so you can hang it to dry. These are so nice. They're great to sell at craft shows. It was good to have you on my side of the mountain. I hope you'll come again soon. Bye.